The Perkins diesel doesn't whisper, it roars with the heartbeat of industry. For decades, it turned fields, hauled cargo, and built nations. Before microchips, there was cast iron, grit, and pure mechanical power. This is the legend of the engine that never quits. To understand the magnitude of this machine, we must travel back to 1932. The world was in the grip of the Great Depression, and the diesel engine, as it existed then, was a lumbering giant. It was heavy, slow, and crude, fit only for massive ships or stationary industrial plants. The idea of putting a diesel engine into a car or a light truck was considered impossible, a fantasy that no serious engineer would entertain. But in Peterborough, England, one man saw a future that others could not. Frank Perkins was not just a businessman, he was a believer in the untapped potential of oil. Along with his brilliant design engineer Charles Chapman, he set out to achieve the impossible, to build a high-speed diesel engine. They worked out of a small rented workshop on Queen Street with limited resources, driven by a singular obsession. They wanted to create an engine that combined the incredible fuel efficiency of a heavy diesel with the speed, lightness, and flexibility of a petrol engine. The nights were long and the failures were many, but in late 1932, their persistence paid off with the creation of the Vixen prototype. When Chapman finally got the engineering right, the engine didn't just chug slowly like its predecessors, it roared to life with a speed that startled the industry. They had successfully designed a compact diesel engine capable of high revolutions per minute. This was the defining moment where the heavy, sluggish image of diesel was shattered forever. This breakthrough laid the foundation for everything that followed. It was no longer just about heavy industry. Suddenly, trucks, tractors, and even cars could harness the power of diesel without being weighed down by massive blocks of iron. Frank Perkins had done more than just build a new engine. He had democratized power, creating a workhorse that was accessible, efficient, and ready to take on the world. The era of the high-speed diesel had officially begun. The true domination of Perkins began not on the racetracks or in luxury cars, but in the muddy, demanding world of agriculture. The turning point came with the legendary partnership between Perkins and Massey Harris, later Massey Ferguson. This was a marriage of engineering convenience and agricultural necessity that would change farming forever. Before this era, tractors were often underpowered or ran on expensive petrol. Perkins introduced engines like the P3 and later the iconic four-cylinder units that offered farmers something they had never experienced before: massive low-end torque combined with incredible fuel economy. When the Perkins engine was dropped into the chassis of a Massey tractor, it created an agricultural icon. For the farmer working the fields of Punjab, the plains of America, or the valleys of Europe, this combination was a revolution. These engines could plough through the densest clay soil from sunrise to sunset without overheating or losing power. It became the heartbeat of the Green Revolution, mechanizing farms that had relied on oxen for centuries. The engine's design was so robust that it forgave the dust, the heat, and the often neglected maintenance schedules of busy harvest seasons. But the ambition of Peterborough did not stop at the edge of the field. As the world entered the post-war economic boom, goods needed to be moved, and Perkins turned its eyes to the tarmac. They adapted their agricultural workhorses for the road, finding homes in the engine bays of legendary trucks like Bedfords, Comers, and Dodges. The Perkins 6.354, in particular, became a legend of the highway. For the truck driver, the deep, resonant drone of a six-cylinder Perkins was a comforting companion on lonely nights, a signal that the cargo would reach its destination on time. By the 1960s, the Perkins badge was no longer just a brand. It was a global standard for industrial power. Its versatility was unmatched. You could find the exact same engine block powering a combine harvester in a field, a generator in a remote hospital, a boat fighting the ocean waves, or a crane lifting steel in a growing city. They had achieved total ubiquity. Perkins had succeeded in building an engine that was not specialized for one task, but perfect for every task. A universal soldier of the industrial age that quietly powered the infrastructure of the modern world. Among the hundreds of engine specifications that rolled out of the factory gates in Peterborough, A select few achieved a status that can only be described as legendary. While the brand was strong, it was specific models that cemented the reputation of Perkins as the manufacturer of the world's most indestructible machines. These were not just engines, they were masterpieces of industrial design, revered by mechanics and operators alike for their refusal to fail. First, we must bow to the undisputed king of agriculture, the Perkins 4.236. If you ask any veteran farmer or old-school mechanic to name the greatest diesel engine ever made, this four-cylinder unit is often the answer. Produced from the 1960s well into the 1990s, the 4.236 was the beating heart of the most famous Massey Ferguson tractors. It was a direct injection marvel that combined a long stroke with a heavy cast iron block. It wasn't designed for speed, it was designed for torque and tenacity. It became famous for its ability to run on poor quality fuel in dusty conditions with minimal oil and still start on the first crank every morning. Then there is the legend of the highways, the Perkins 6.354. While the four-cylinder conquered the fields, this six-cylinder beast conquered the roads. It was compact, powerful, and incredibly durable, becoming the engine of choice for medium-duty trucks like the Bedford TK and the Dodge 500 series. For the truck drivers of the 1970s and 80s, the sound of a 6.354 at full throttle was the sound of money being earned. It was an engine that could haul heavy loads up steep gradients without overheating, earning a reputation among transport fleets as the million-mile engine if properly maintained. What united these legendary models was a philosophy of over-engineering. The engineers at Perkins didn't just build these engines to meet a spec sheet, they built them to survive the harshest environments on Earth. Whether it was the P-series in the early days or the later phaser engines, the DNA remained the same. These models became so ubiquitous that parts became universally available, from a high-tech workshop in London to a roadside mechanics shack in rural Pakistan. These engines didn't just power machines, they set the global benchmark for what a diesel engine was supposed to be. The true genius of the Perkins design lay not in what they added, but in what they left out. In today's era, where engines are buried under layers of plastic covers and drowning in a sea of sensors, wiring harnesses, and electronic control units, looking back at a Perkins engine feels like looking at a piece of pure functional art. There was no check engine light because the engine communicated with you directly. You could diagnose its health by the sound of the idle, the color of the smoke, and the vibration of the block. It was an honest machine that hid nothing from its operator. At the heart of this simplicity was the mechanical fuel injection system. There were no computers making millions of calculations per second to decide when to inject the diesel. That job belonged to the legendary mechanical injection pump, often the rotary cav pump, which was a marvel of clockwork precision. When you pressed the accelerator, you were physically pulling a lever on the pump. The connection between man and machine was direct and tactile. This mechanical governor system meant that as long as the engine had air and fuel, it would run. It was immune to electrical failures, dead batteries, or blown fuses, making it the ultimate survivor in harsh conditions. This simplicity gave birth to a culture of repairability that has largely been lost. If a modern common rail engine fails in a remote field, the machine is dead until a laptop can be connected. But with a Perkins, a breakdown was merely a pause, not a catastrophe. It was designed to be fixed on the side of the road, in the middle of a muddy field, or in a village workshop with dirt floors. A basic set of spanners, a screwdriver, and perhaps a hammer were often all that was needed to bring it back to life. This accessibility empowered a generation of mechanics who didn't need a degree in computer science to keep the world moving. Yet simple did not mean primitive. Perkins was a pioneer in direct injection technology long before it became the industry standard. By injecting fuel directly into the combustion chamber rather than a pre-chamber, they achieved a level of thermal efficiency that was remarkable for its time. This design allowed the engine to start instantly in cold weather, a feature known as the cold start, and allowed it to sip diesel with a frugality that made it the envy of the market. They proved that you didn't need complexity to achieve efficiency, you just needed brilliant engineering. But as the new millennium approached, the winds of change began to blow against the iron giants of Peterborough. It was not a lack of reliability or a failure of engineering that eventually dethroned the classic Perkins engine. It was a shift in the priorities of the world itself. The very characteristics that made these engines legendary, their loose tolerances, their rugged mechanical injection, and their raw, unfiltered exhaust, became their greatest liabilities in a world suddenly obsessed with emissions and noise control. Governments began to tighten the noose with strict environmental regulations, demanding engines that were cleaner, quieter, and smokeless. The death knell for the classic era sounded with the arrival of Euro emission standards. The simple mechanical soul of the Perkins engine could not easily be tamed to meet these new, microscopic limits on particulate matter. To comply, engines had to change fundamentally. The mechanical fuel pumps were replaced by high-pressure common rail systems. The iron blocks were covered in sensors and wiring harnesses, and the exhaust systems became choked with catalytic converters and DPF filters. While these new engines were cleaner and more powerful, they lost the rugged simplicity that had allowed a farmer to fix them with a hammer in the middle of a harvest. The final turning point in the company's history came in 1998, when Perkins was acquired by the American giant Caterpillar. While this acquisition undoubtedly saved the brand and injected billions into research and development, it marked the end of an era of independence. The engines produced under this new regime were marvels of modern technology, but for the old guard, the mechanics and drivers who had grown up with the smell of diesel and grease, the spirit had shifted. The engine was no longer a standalone legend, it was now part of a corporate global strategy. Today, if you visit a modern showroom, you will see engines that are masterpieces of efficiency, controlled by sophisticated computers that optimize every drop of fuel. But there is a lingering question that haunts the industry. Will these modern plastic-clad machines still be running 50 years from now? Will they be discovered in a barn in 2075, covered in dust, and brought back to life with a fresh battery and a turn of the key? The answer, sadly, is likely no. The era of the forever engine, the engine that you could pass down to your children like a family heirloom, faded away with the last of the mechanical Perkins diesels. As the golden age of mechanical diesel fades, Perkins leaves more than rusted metal. It leaves a legacy etched into the soil of our world. Though technology has moved on to quieter, cleaner engines, these old legends still roar across villages, farmlands, and construction sites. They chug with a steady, relentless heartbeat, refusing to quit. To own, drive, or repair a Perkins was to trust a machine that never abandoned you, powering nations, building roads, and keeping lights burning. With little required in return, oil, fuel, respect, they gave everything. Hear that clatter, and hear history itself, the world's workhorse,